Well, it's just about sundown. We might as well make camp.
I'll go look for some water.
I'll get some wood.
What is it?
Read that marker.
Elizabeth Corbett, 1635 to 1670.
100 years ago.
That's impossible. There were no white men in Kentucky 100 years ago. And there were certainly no white women.
None that I ever heard of before, anyway. Not at least until now.
Still wondering about Elizabeth Corbett, Daniel? Maybe the whole thing was just a hoax.
You think so? I've been lying here puzzling who she might have been, where she come from, what she was doing out here in the wilderness 100 years ago.
Well, this is a strange land, Daniel. It's seen many strange things. More than we can imagine. Perhaps the answer to your questions went to the grave with her.
Girl. Where did she go? It's like asking me where she came from in the first place.
That's a good question, too.
Well, when Mingo and I turned around, she was gone. We spent the rest of the night and most of the morning looking for her, but she just sort of up and vanished like a puff of smoke.
First, the grave of a woman dead 100 years. Then a sort of a ghost gal warning you about them Shawnee. You wouldn't be pulling our legs now, would you, Daniel?
Well, if you want to take a look at that grave, Barnabas, I can tell you exactly where it is.
Well, sir, I've trapped and hunted every inch of that country from here to the Blue Mountains. And I know there ain't no white folks in that neck of the woods, and never was.
All I'm telling you is what Mingo and I saw.
Maybe that gal was an Indian prisoner that escaped.
Well, then why would she run away from us?
And that don't make real good sense now you mention it.
What did she look like, Daniel?
Oh, we ain't interested in what she looks like.
Well, maybe you ain't, but I am. Was she pretty, Daniel?
Well, to tell you the truth, Chad, I didn't get a very good look at her. But from the way she moved, I'd say she was young.
Well, now, that's encouraging.
I suppose you're just gonna go and run her down all by yourself, huh?
Yeah, well, I might just do that.
Well, in case nobody ever told you before, you just get a little too big for your britches at times. If Daniel and Mingo can't find her, then what chance do you think you're gonna have? Daniel already told you she just up and disappeared.
Well, that's the part that don't make good sense to me. Well, people just don't up and disappear.
Well, I never said it made good sense. All I told you is what happened.
You said that name on the headstone was Elizabeth Corbett.
That's right. Does that mean something to you?
Elizabeth Corbett. Just trying to figure out I heard that name before.
Well, do you think you ever have heard it before?
Doggone it, I don't know. And that's just the thing that's bothering me.
Well, if you ever figure out where you heard it, I'd be interested to know about it. Something smells good. What have you got in there?
Oh, you'll find out at supper time.
Would there be enough to go around if Mingo stayed?
Mingo?
Yeah, he's outside chopping wood.
Why, Daniel Boone, is that any way to treat a guest?
He doesn't know he's a guest yet. I thought I'd better come in and ask first.
Now, you know better than that.
Well, as I remember it, the last time I brought somebody home as a surprise, you were kind of put out by it.
As I remember it, the last time you brought somebody home as a surprise, there were 11 of them.
I guess that is kind of different.
Suppose you've been entertaining everybody at the fort with your stories about that old grave and your mysterious lady of the night.
I think I might have mentioned it.
Well, what'd they say?
Well, Barnabas didn't believe me. Cincinnatus thought maybe he'd heard the name somewhere, but he couldn't remember where or when.
Oh?
Where's this one?
The last time reported, he was looking for your mysterious lady out in the woods.
You know, it's nice to know at least my son believes me.
I never said I didn't believe you. I merely said it sounded like a mighty tall tale.
You know, I think I'm going to have to go and get that wooden marker and bring it back here in order to convince some people I know.
Daniel Boone, don't you dare desecrate a burial place, no matter where or what it is.
Well, now, I didn't aim to do it in the first place. Besides, that marker looked pretty heavy. I just want to hear what you'd say.
I was just teasing you. You know I always believe you. And Israel isn't looking for your mysterious lady. He's out picking berries for the pies I'm baking for the celebration.
What are we celebrating?
Well, for your information, we're commemorating the founding of Boonesboro. Or maybe you've never heard of it.
It does have a familiar ring to it. Well, I reckon I should go out and help Mingo because I expect that he has the wood just about chopped by now.
Well, I guess that's enough for Ma's pies. Guess it's time I started home, before Pa gets word and comes looking for me.
Little boy, help me.
Well, I'm an Antley. You must be the ghost Pa was talking about.
Ghost?
The ghost of the woman in the grave that Pa and Mingo found.
Please help me.
Except you don't feel like no ghost.
Please, get someone to help.
You lie real still. I'll go fetch my pa. He'll take care of you.
My name is Elizabeth.
Elizabeth who?
Just Elizabeth.
It wouldn't be Corbett, would it?
Why do you say that?
It's just a guess. It's a name I saw on a grave marker near where I found you.
Well, I don't know anything about any grave marker.
Where's your home, Elizabeth?
I can't tell you.
Why not?
I can't.
All we want to know is who you are and where you're from. Maybe that way we'll be able to help you.
No.
Why did you run away last night after you warned us about the Indians?
Please don't ask me things that I can't answer.
Can't, Elizabeth? Or won't?
I think I better... Nonsense, child. Now, lie still. You need food and rest. And there'll be no more questions, will there, Dan? Now we'll let you sleep. Don't be afraid. You're safe here.
Rebecca, what do you think about my tall tale now?
I'm just as confused as you are.
She's sure not telling us much, not by a long shot.
Maybe she's lost her memory.
I don't think so. I think she's downright scared to death.
Scared of what?
I don't know. I wish I knew. And I also wish I knew what we're going to do with her.
Well, we'll just have to wait. Maybe if we keep her here for a few days, she may feel she can confide in us.
Maybe.
One thing is certain. I'm going to take her to the fort tomorrow and get her some decent clothes. Well, this is Boonesboro, what there is of it. I guess it's a smaller town than you expected.
You mean they have larger ones than this?
Yes, this is just a frontier settlement. Of course, it won't always be this way. Someday we'll have cobble streets and brick houses.
Brick houses? You mean you ain't never seen a brick house?
Israel.
Well, Jake, I'm only a little boy, and I've seen
Israel Boone. Let's go to the store, look. Elizabeth, don't pay any attention to their staring. You're a stranger. Well, we don't get many strangers here. They don't mean any harm.
Oh, now you're going to look real nice in this.
Cincinnati?
Excuse me, I'll be right back. Morning, Becky.
Good morning.
Israel, how many times I told you to keep that wild animal out of here?
every time I came in.
Well, then when are you going to start paying attention to me?
Well, gee whiz.
Israel, do what Cincinnati says. Take Rosebud outside.
Come on, outside. Yeah, out you go.
Cincinnati, I want you to meet my friend Elizabeth.
Real pleased to meet you, ma'am. I don't believe I caught your last name, though.
We'd like to look at some of your dresses, Cincinnati.
Right over here. What kind of a dress was you looking for?
Oh, I think something very pretty. Let's see what you have in stock.
Well, we got a new shipment in last week. What size do you wear?
Size?
Oh, I think a small size should be just about right. Mm-hmm. And can we use your room upstairs for a fitting room?
Just help yourself. There ain't nobody else using it.
Yeah, I reckon I gotta beg your pardon, Daniel. You told us that story yesterday, I could have swore you was pulling our leg.
Well, let that be a lesson to you, Barnabas. Never doubt the word of an honest man.
The trouble with me is I seen it and I still don't believe it.
Daniel, I understand you found that woman you were looking for.
No, I didn't. Israel found her out in the woods.
What'd you find out about her?
Nothing.
Oh, what's the matter? Can't you talk?
Well, she can, but she won't.
Is she pretty?
Why?
Well, I'm kind of hoping to find me a pretty gal to take to the dance tomorrow night.
You mean a handsome-looking young fellow like yourself can't find a girl to take to the dance?
Well, I found a few, except... Did you say she wasn't pretty?
No, I didn't say that. Why don't you come on over with me and have a look for yourself? She and Becky are over there buying a dress.
Yeah, I might just do that. The way I look at it, there's nothing I can lose.
Daniel.
Cincinnatus, what's holding up Becky and Elizabeth?
Oh, they're still upstairs trying on a dress. They've been up there for an hour already.
If I know women, they can stay up there for another hour. Think I'll have a mug of ale. How about you, Chad?
Well, I don't mind if I do.
Dan?
Wow.
All I can say is her appearance has changed considerable since the last time I saw her.
Well, what do you think of our young lady now?
Well, I think she looks all fast and fine in her new gown.
Then I'd say our transformation has been successful. Oh, Elizabeth, I'd like you to meet our good friend, Chad Oliver.
But I'm very pleased to meet you, Mr. Oliver.
I guarantee you, if there's any pleasure, it's all mine. And her name is Chad, in case you didn't hear.
Chad, you've just met the girl.
Well, yes, ma'am, I know that. But I just don't have much time. Would you do me the honor to attend the dance with me tomorrow night?
Well, Chad, why don't you join us for supper? That way you two can get acquainted and Elizabeth can think.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll expect you then. Come along, Elizabeth. Israel? Dan?
Why don't you close your mouth? You look like a bullfrog trying to catch flies.
Mighty nice night.
Yes.
Seems a shame to waste all this moonlight.
Wasted. I don't understand.
Well, I thought we might sit, talk a while. You worried about Rebecca? I don't reckon she'll mind you stay a while. She's the one who said we ought to get better acquainted. Come on, sit down. Come on, sit. Anybody ever told you just how pretty you are?
No.
Well, then all the men who live where you do must be blind, whatever that is. Elizabeth. I'm sorry. Daniel told me not to ask you any questions. I didn't mean to pry, except I'm going to ask you one more question.
Please.
I just want to know, will you go to the dance with me tomorrow night?
I can't.
Well, why not?
I've never been to a dance. I don't know of such things.
Well, you don't know what you're missing. It's going to be a real big doings. Singing and dancing, everybody laughing. I bet you'd be twice as pretty if you smiled. There, I told you so. Now, say you'll go partying with me tomorrow night.
All right, Chad. I'll go to the dance with you.
What's bothering you, Dan? I know something's troubling you.
I just wish I knew what she was hiding.
She'll tell us. She will. After she gets over being lonesome and afraid. You'll see.
Come on, get him down there. Come on, hold him down. That's the way, get him down. Get him down there. Come on.
Well, some other time, Barnabas.
Oh, boy. Chad, how about you?
No, I got more important things to do. Come on, Elizabeth, let's go over there and try a dance.
Victor.
Come on, get him down there. Come on, hold him down. That's the way, get him down. Get him down there, come on. Get him down. Roll him around, come on.
Punch for the ladies, whiskey for the men. Come on, folks, and dig right in. What you gonna have?
Well, I reckon we'll have one each.
All right?
You glad you came?
Oh, this is the most exciting thing that's ever happened to me. You know, I had no idea people could live like this.
Well, shucks, this isn't anything. Where do you see the towns east of the mountains?
Do you think I will someday?
That's up to me, you will. Next time I go to Salem, you and I can go out there.
Dad? Dan and I are leaving. It's past Israel's bedtime. But there's no reason why you two shouldn't stay. You will see Elizabeth gets home safely, won't you?
Oh, yes, ma'am. You can depend on that. May I have the honor of this next dance?
Then we'll be saying good night. All right, Dan.
Elizabeth,
Jonathan, what are you doing here?
I've come to take you home.
Oh, no, Jonathan. It's too late now.
But 'tis your father's wish. You cannot disobey him.
I already have disobeyed him.
What you want again? Come, Elizabeth.
Maybe you didn't hear the lady. She said you didn't want to go. Isn't that right?
And you say Elizabeth knew the man that stopped you, Chad?
She called him by his first name, Jonathan.
Jonathan.
And he said he'd come to take her home to her father?
Yes, ma'am.
That all fits in. That's why she wouldn't tell us where she lived. She'd run away from home.
Only she didn't want to go back. I stepped in to tell him so, and that's all I remember. When I came to, both of them were gone.
I reckon that's the end of that.
You mean to say you aren't going to do anything about it?
Well, why should I?
Well, I just got through telling you she didn't want to go.
Well, that may be, but that's no reason to interfere in a family affair.
Well, that's reason enough for me. Besides, I got some business with Jonathan. He hit me when I wasn't looking.
Chad, stay out of it. Leave well enough alone.
Well, don't you want to know where she came from? Or maybe what she's going back to?
Not enough to go looking for trouble.
Well, then you're not as curious as I am.
Chad?
I'll have the answers to your questions when I get back.
Hot-headed and stubborn, won't listen to the thing anybody tries to tell him.
Dan, do you think it's wise to let him go alone?
He's big enough to look after himself, Becky.
You don't know what he's getting into.
Well, I figure the worst he can run into is a mad father with a gun, or maybe Jonathan will clean his plow again.
I don't know. I have a strange feeling there's more to it than that.
Morning, Daniel. Mingo. Had any word from Chad yet?
Nope.
He's been gone better than 3 days. I figured you might be getting a little worried about him.
Is that why you asked Mingo to have me come over?
Could be. Then again, on the other hand, it couldn't be.
There's nothing I like more than a direct answer to a question.
Now, I don't know whether this got anything to do with the subject or not, but I run across a little piece of information that might just possibly interest you.
I'm listening.
Remember I told you before I'd heard of that name on that gravestone? Well, I finally recollected where I'd seen it. It's right here in this book, Daniel.
In this book?
Yep. This book's been in my family as far back as I can remember. Daniel, did you ever hear of Sir William Gates?
Sir William Gates.
Wasn't he the one who founded the colony at Cape Fear?
That's the one, all right. He brought almost 100 people over to Cape Fear in 16 and 67. Then he went back to England for more people and more supplies. Well, sir?
Well, what are you getting at, Cincinnati?
Well, if you'll just be quiet and listen, I'll finish.
Well, don't let me stop you talking.
Well, I don't aim to. But what with one thing and another, he didn't get back to Cape Fear for better than 3 years after he left. But when he did get back, do you know what he found?
Nothing.
Mingo, are you telling this or am I?
I beg your pardon.
Well, you are. That's exactly what he did find. There was nothing. Stockade was burned to the ground. All the people he'd left there was gone. Men, women, and children was missing. No graves, no bodies, no nothing. And nobody from that day to this has ever figured out what's happened to him.
Well, I seem to remember that part of the story.
Yeah, well, maybe so, but I bet you don't know what I found out. Look, it's right here in this book. The names of all the people that Sir William's left behind. You see that name there? Take a good look at it. That's the name of the fellow that was in charge at Cape Fear. Now, he had a wife and 3 children. See his wife's name, Daniel?
Elizabeth Corbett.
It just isn't possible.
Could be. That girl they found was sure enough Ghost.
Might be. That sure was no ghost that hit Chad.
What do you think, Daniel?
I think Chad might be in more trouble than I figured.
Any trace of them, Daniel?
Pick up any sign the other way? The man thought about it long enough he could convince himself this was the end of the trail.
Well, I might believe in one ghost, Daniel, but not 2. And I'm reasonably sure that Chad is a living human being. No, from here they must have taken to that rocky ridge, which means that you and I are going to have a lot of quartering to do to find out where they left it.
That rocky ridge is at least 10 miles long, and we have no way of knowing whether they double back on us or not. Might take us 2 or 3 days to pick up the trail if we're lucky.
There might be a shorter way, if you care to gamble.
How's that?
It has to do with Indian legend. But then some Indian legend has a basis in fact. This one tells of a valley to the west where no man travels. But there's some truth in it, and if a person was seeking sanctuary, that might be the very place.
I know that place. I've never traveled through it. It's always too rough a going.
Well,
might be worth taking a chance. We're just wasting time here, and I'm not about to turn back now.
Do you recognize any of this country, Daniel?
It's all new to me.
According to the legend, no man has ever set foot there.
Considering all the trouble we had getting here, I can understand that. What do your people call this?
The Cherokee, they call it the haunted place.
I can understand that, too.
Of course, every tribe has its own name for it. The Shawnee call it the home of the dead. To the Creeks, it's the Valley of the Spirits. But whatever name he gives it, every Indian believes that this is the place where the spirits of his ancestors dwell. To all the tribes, it's sacred ground. It's described as a place of shadows and silence, where even the birds don't sing. Some believe it means death to look upon it, or even speak of it.
Mingo, you don't want to go down there, do you?
Well, to tell you the truth, Daniel, I have just enough of the Englishman in me to laugh at the legend, and there's just enough of the Indian to know better.
That's all right. I understand. I'll try to be as quick as I can.
Well, now, just a moment, Daniel. I may not want to go, but I didn't say I wouldn't.
I'd be glad of your coming. I hate to admit it, but it looks to me like our gamble isn't paying off. Man would have to be a fool to live in a place like this.
A fool, frightened. You want to turn back?
No. We've come this far. We might as well see the rest of it. Somebody was here. Somebody's watching us. I think maybe we'd be wasting our time trying to catch him. Why don't we let him come to us? Ground's dry. It's not a bad place to make camp. Close enough. We figured if we built a big fire, we could draw you in.
Who are you? Why have you come here?
My name is Daniel Boone, and I'm looking for a friend of mine.
The young man who trailed my daughter here?
That could be the one. Where is he?
He's perfectly safe. No harm has come to him. You can put your weapons down.
Not until we get a look at Chad.
You will see him later. The journey to my village is too difficult to be undertaken in the darkness.
You seem to have managed well enough.
We were waiting for you. Your young friend Chad said that you would follow if he failed to return.
Well, he's a prisoner.
By his own choice. He refused to leave without Elizabeth.
Why not let her go? She left once before.
If you will permit us to warm ourselves by your fire, perhaps I can explain it to you. To begin, my name is Jedediah Corbett. I assume from your expression that Elizabeth has told you about me.
She's told us nothing.
Then I fail to understand.
We've seen the name before. We saw it on the grave marker of a woman who died 100 years ago, Elizabeth Corbett.
The date is correct, Mr. Boone. That marks the grave of my great-grandmother.
The name also appears in the diary of Sir William Gates, who founded the colony of Cape Fear in the year 1667.
I was not aware that any written record had been left. Then you know our story.
Only a part of it. It seems that after 3 years, Sir William returned from England, only to find the colony destroyed and not a trace of anyone. It's always been assumed that there were no survivors of whatever cataclysm took place there.
It was an Indian massacre. A great many died there. Many others along the way as they fled westward towards these mountains.
How'd you happen to come here?
A miracle, Mr. Boone. A miracle. A sign from the Lord. They entered into this valley, and the Indians did not follow.
From what I've seen of it, I wouldn't exactly call it the Promised Land.
It was the will of the Lord. He gave them sanctuary here.
No Indian will come here. This is forbidden ground to all the tribes. It's a place of death from which no man returns.
Then why did you come here?
Mingo is an enlightened Indian. He doesn't hold with ancient superstitions.
That presents a problem we had not foreseen.
What do you mean by that?
If it becomes known that he has entered this valley and returned alive, our refuge is gone. Other savages will follow. This Indian must never leave this valley.
Nice little place you have here, Chad.
It might seem strange at first. It kind of grows on you.
How long have they had you locked up in here?
Well, ever since I got here. That's a little bit hard to say, because in here you can't tell the day from the night. I suppose they brought you in blindfolded, the same as they did me.
That's right.
Daniel, it's my fault you're here. If I'd only listened to you.
It's a little late for that, isn't it, Chad?
I reckon it is. I just wanted you to know.
Have you seen Elizabeth?
I ain't seen anybody, except 3 old men who feed me once a day.
Why 3?
One of them carries the food, the other 2 got clubs. I guess they're afraid I might make a run for it.
That seems an unnecessary precaution. Where would you run?
How would I know? You got any idea what they mean to do to us?
Well, from what I gathered, they plan to decide in a council meeting. One thing they made clear, though, Mingo's not going to leave here alive. And I don't think you and I can plan on faring much better.
When are you going to have this meeting?
Tonight. I think I'll try and get a little sleep.
Elizabeth, what are you doing here?
Tell me the judgment. I must know.
This is not a matter for women.
Oh, but it is for me. Tell me the judgment.
All 3 of them must die.
No. No, I won't let that happen.
It was put to a vote, and the vote was fair.
Did you vote for it?
No, I didn't.
Then you must help me.
How can I help?
You've seen their world, Jonathan. You know it's not cruel and it's not evil, as Father says. Well, you've seen their gaiety and heard their laughter and their music.
Yes. Yes, all that is true.
You said that you loved me once and that you wanted to marry me.
You know that, Elizabeth.
I love you, Jonathan. Come away with me. We'll leave this valley and we'll take the others with us.
For you. You hit me when I wasn't looking before, now get up and fight.
Dad, stop! What? I haven't got time to explain now, but come with me.
Jonathan, I had it coming to me. Keep close together and hurry. Path is treacherous at night. Find out we've gone with no time to waste.
What is it?
My ankle.
How bad is it?
I can't walk, but the rest of you go on.
Not without you, we're not.
Boone, Mr. Boone, come back. There's no need in your running now.
That's far enough. Go back to your village, Corbin. Don't try to follow us. I'll dump this bridge into the gorge with you on it if necessary.
What do you want from us, Mr. Boone?
We want to get out of here. We want to take Jonathan and Elizabeth with us. And any of the rest of you that want to come along.
No one will leave here. This is the only world we know. We are content with it.
Well, then be content. Don't try to force it on your children.
Elizabeth, my daughter, what do you say?
I'm leaving, Father.
And Jonathan? Where Elizabeth goes, I will go too. Then go.
How can we ever thank you for everything you've done for us, for all this?
Well, just call it a wedding present from the people of Boonesboro.
I wonder if the others will ever leave that valley and come here.
Oh, it's possible, Mingo. Maybe in time a few of them will straggle out.
You know, there's a question I've been meaning to ask you. Would you really have destroyed that bridge if Corbett hadn't stopped?
I don't know, Mingo. I'm glad that's one decision I didn't have to make.